2 months before Trump won the elections, and when all the opinion polls were absolutely confident that he's going to lose, I said that in my opinion, he has already won the elections. That's not because I am a Trumpist. I have been a Bernie supporter forever. I've got nothing to do with Trumpism, but it's basic common sense. It's understanding of the political scenario around the world, how the leftists have become lazy, and how the right-wing people have been capturing power in country after country. Trump's win was absolutely guaranteed only because the opposition parties were name-calling him. They were attacking him below the belt instead of targeting his policies and talking about them and trying to find out the rationale behind them. Is there anything sensible that he's talking? Instead of doing that, they were brushing all under one carpet. He's a Hitler. He's a monster. He's an autocratic devil. He's the worst thing that's going to happen to America. While people didn't buy that. People were looking at his promises. Promises of a secure border. Promises of keeping men out of women's sports. Things that were affecting their daily lives. And others were refusing to accept it and acknowledge it. And that is what brought Trump to power. After coming to power, Trump has been doing many mistakes. But tariffs isn't one of them. And on 8th, when I wrote a cover story for our media magazine, the Sunday Indian, praising Trump and saying, Trump is right and you are wrong, people couldn't believe that I wrote that. They were speculating a recession. They were talking about markets crashing. Of course, I also said the markets would be crashing and also explained why crashing of markets is no big deal in the long run. And for the entire article, please do read the article link below this video that I have posted, because that is the basis of this video. That's the reason why I'm making. It's an answer to that article. It's an answer to the questions people had. It's an answer to the criticism. People said that this is not art of the deal that Trump talks about. Trump will fail. Trump tariffs are bad. Tariffs are going to cause a recession. Well, if tariffs are going to cause a recession, tariffs is bad economics, then why do countries around the world, whenever they need to grow, use tariff? Why does every country in the world almost have higher tariffs with respect to America? The entire Chinese miracle of the EVs is based on tariff. Entire South Korean miracle is tariff based. The Japanese miracle was tariff based. The entire Chinese growth over the last 3 decades has been tariff based. Every country, whenever it needs to protect its market, whenever it needs to innovate, whenever it needs its domestic players to become strong, uses tariffs so that others can't come and eat them up. Unless and until you have a great national competition, you can never win Olympic medals. And this is why countries after countries, for more than centuries, have been using tariffs as a method to grow. And only those countries talk about removing tariffs which have international competitiveness, and America clearly realizes that it is not internationally the most competitive economy right now. China is. And Trump's main concern, which I wrote in the article, is China. And within a few days of Trump declaring tariffs, everybody came to know that his main target was China, as he removed tariffs from all other countries except for China. In fact, on China, he increased and kept increasing. That is because Trump is one of those few leaders in the world who realizes the huge American mistake of taking its investments to China, because China gave them cheap labor and world-class infrastructure. Instead of trying to bring it to India, a democracy, instead of trying to go to other countries which were democratic in nature and investing there, including in infrastructure there, maybe, or motivating the governments out there to create better infrastructure so that they can come in there. American companies went to the world's greatest autocratic country and invested there. And America kept on allowing its companies to become dependent on Chinese markets and go and produce there and become completely blackmailed by China. It was always coming. I've said so many times in my lectures that what if China tomorrow decides to shut down your companies overnight? What happens then? China is an autocracy. China is a dictatorship. China is the world's biggest enemy. China is the world's scariest country today. And democracies after democracies are investing in China like fools. And Trump is the only man who realizes this huge mistake. And this mistake can't be overturned overnight. But this mistake has to be overturned because this Chinese threat has to be tackled. This Chinese threat has to be tackled for the future of the world. And Trump realizes that. What if this entire thing that he has done, his entire winning of the presidential election was the art of the deal? What if he knew that talking about borders, talking about trans men in women's sports and these things would cater to his more or less illiterate vote bank and get him to the presidential spot? And then his plan was to go back to what he has been talking about for 4 to 5 decades now, that we need tariffs to protect America. And what if this entire game plan is an art of the deal, where all this is because he wants the world to unite against China? The entire Europe, he wants to bring in Russia intelligently. After all, Russia has been a partner in 2 of the world wars with America. He wants to bring in India. He wants to bring in Southeast Asia. He cannot possibly bring a few countries of South Asia and a few countries of Africa and Latin America because they have been captured by China. He's trying to unite the rest of the world and he's telling them that no protection for you. Why? Because if you deal with China, you increase your tariffs with China, you reduce your tariffs with America, and I give you protection. What if at the end of all of this, American companies suddenly become more competitive in this entire belt of Europe, India, Southeast Asia, Latin America? Because they are forced to reduce their tariffs because America provides them protection, America provides them a democratic support, America provides them real security against China. And what if this entire game that Trump has played has been only to safeguard this world from China? To make sure that the Chinese market remains limited to its own population of 1.5 billion and maybe some other African and others, maybe 2.5 billion, maybe 3 billion, while the other 5 billion unites together as an opposition to China. And that is the new world order that we need. 2 decades back, I wrote that we need a new alliance of India, Russia, and China. We should have done it then. We didn't do that, and it's too late now. The new alliance that we need now in the world is of India, Russia, and USA. And if the European nations are intelligent to join in, wonderful. If they don't join in, they're lost. Because China is the world's least trusted country. It is untrue that America has suddenly become the least trusted partner of the Western world. No! This is Trump's art of the deal. Trump is going to eventually safeguard the world against China, and that's going to be his greatest contribution, apart from stopping wars, hopefully across the world. Yes, he has many other flaws. America is a great democracy. They're going to take care of that. For that, we have got Bernie Sanders, we have got AOC, we have got Newsom. They are all going to make sure that American democracy stays safe. Even the Supreme Court is there, and they're going to take care of every other thing that Trump is going wrong with. But tariffs, isn't the thing that Trump is going wrong with. He's probably going to end up increasing markets for the American companies and will be doing the greatest service to American companies by forcing them to shift out of China, and if not bring back to America, going to other nations like Vietnam, Philippines, India, and other countries which are far more reliable, far more democratic, and far less a threat to the world than China today is.